Hello and welcome to Tennessee Valley this morning on WTMB as Kim swallows her biscuit. Mint.
Was it right? Biscuit and gravy.
We're sure glad that you've joined us here on this middle of the week Wednesday. We've got a great show for you today, but before we do, we got to talk like we do about some very menial things just to kind of open the show. One in particular.
So you've got it in your head what we're talking about this morning?
There's one thing I wanted to mention.
Well, good, because I haven't thought about it, actually.
Well, this is not much of a thought. It's just kind of an observation. But what in the heck is wrong with Tiger Woods?
Oh, I know.
You know, Tiger Woods in this tournament, the Memorial Tournament that he's won 5 times this past weekend, he had his worst round ever at the Memorial Tournament and his worst combined rounds of golf since he came into the professional ranks back in like 97.
So it's upset you enough to where on Wednesday you're still thinking about it?
Well, the reason why it's upset me is because I'm wondering if he's gotten over it at this point. You know, it had ended Sunday.
Well, he didn't really pitch a fit. Like, I mean, I've seen him get ill.
Yeah.
Did you see him get ill?
No, he didn't.
He didn't. Or they didn't show it because the cameras weren't on him enough because he was so far behind by Sunday. I mean, it was bad.
It was very bad.
It was very bad on Saturday.
He was in the tournament, he was 8 over. All right, let me just tell you what I figured. I did all the math. He's 8 over.
There's no way you did the math.
I did the math.
Somebody else did it. You heard
it. He's 8
over.
over.
Didn't do the math.
His combined score for all 4 days was 296 strokes, okay? 296 strokes over a 4-day span, 4 rounds of golf, averages out to be about a round of 75 per round. Now, Tiger traditionally shoots in the high 60s, sometimes 66, 67, around here or there, 70, 69. 75. I mean, that's like me out there. In fact, I could have beat Tiger this past weekend, I think.
75 in his dreams.
Huh?
Are you kidding
Kim,
me?
I'm talking 4 rounds.
Are you kidding me, Joe?
4 rounds, 75,
If
Kim.
you
I can
ever-
knock one out every once in a while. I mean, every,
delusional.
blind squirrel gets a nut every now
It's
and then.
early.
But anyway, so yeah, 75. So I was I was disappointed for him. But Matt Kuchar. I like to say Kuchar,
It's
but Kuchar,
Kuchar.
you're right. In fact, well, it's C-U-C-H.
Did you not hear any of the tournaments?
Cooch. They call him Cooch and all that. But he was a rookie back, about however many years ago. He played in the Masters as an amateur and did pretty well. They didn't get his name right there either. And he played pretty well. And now he's a seasoned professional with a gray in his beard. It's almost like watching a kid grow up.
He had 2 cute little boys. Did you see the 2 cute little boys?
And a lovely wife. But he still looks like a kid to me. I still think of him as a kid.
Well, I mean,
Kuchar, you know.
Kuchar.
That's
Kuchar.
Kuchar. Some story in there somewhere.
I've gotten tickled now.
See,
Now I got to stop. Now
Yeah,
stop.
you need to stop. And I know what you tickled about.
I know.
But anyway, so Matt won, and congratulations to Matt. And bad for Tiger. And so hopefully next week it'll be better. Now, on a serious note, we do want to touch on this too. One of our guests is Doug Mizell. He's going to Cleveland preppers, survival preppers, and Doug's going to come talk a little bit since we've had these tornadoes again, a little bit about more prepping for survival and the next and the chance that we get a travesty like just happened over there in Oklahoma City. What,
I think we're pretty much out of the woods, though, aren't we? I mean, I think that now that we're into June, that April has typically, right now the hurricane season has started, but it has been cooler. I mean, it's been beautiful outside. I hear by the end of the week, though, this week we're gonna have some rain, and then it's gonna get warm. It's gonna be more like summer. But we've had some beautiful, dry, non-humid days. I mean, it hasn't even felt like Tennessee or Cleveland. And so maybe with that still having that little coolness in the air, maybe there's still the threat. But usually by June, we're a little bit safe from the tornadoes.
Well, but you never know. Severe thunderstorms, straight line winds,
hail.
Hail.
Ooh,
I didn't want to go there.
You're scared of the hail.
In fact, when I was watching the Weather Channel about the tornadoes over there in Oklahoma City, they were talking about hail the size of grapefruits.
And they had one that they showed that was next to a baseball, and it was the size, and that could kill you, Joe.
Now, Alan, if you're watching, that happens, my truck will be somewhere else. I don't think I'll be laying on the hood of my truck during that, because that will completely that would crush me.
Right.
If it hits me in the head. But I would protect my truck at all costs.
I know.
If hail that big. I don't know where I will go with it, but I may just go to another state and just park.
See if you can outrun the hail.
Outrun the hail. But
there you go.
Yeah. So anyway, but bad devastation over there in Oklahoma City. We our thoughts and prayers with those folks over there. They were hit within a couple of days. Severe tornadoes. It's like I was talking to Doug before we went on. Now, any of you thinking about moving to Oklahoma, now it's kind of like, if you had any thoughts about moving there, what? Now, the governor, she came on there and said, listen, Oklahoma's a wonderful state. Don't let this, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Come on, she was saying. This is not usual for us. But when you think of Tornado Alley, it's Oklahoma. Right? Kansas, Oklahoma.
The Wizard of Oz happened.
I know, but Oklahoma, that could have been in Oklahoma.
I know. See, they could have just picked Kansas up and put it in Oklahoma.
In fact, I think that's what happened.
I think that's what happened too.
But anyway, but again, our thoughts and prayers with those folks out there. And again, Doug's going to talk to us about surviving those type of storms and what you may need to do to keep prepared. We also have Tracy Shellhouse in the house. And Tracy is going to talk to us about...
give us an update with New Hope Pregnancy Center, see what's going on there, what's coming up,
got the
and
summer
what we
coming
can
up,
do.
So I'm sure they have some great activities going on, coming up. And of course, we've got Ron Moore will be on. We're talking to us about some local history and what Debbie doesn't give him information on, he'll just make up. And it'll sound interesting.
It sounds
We'll
great.
all believe it, like we do every week. But yeah, so it's a great show, and again, stay prepared for this weekend. Keep your umbrella in your car because there will be some more rain supposedly by
Thursday,
I think tomorrow,
or Friday.
Yeah, tomorrow or Friday. So,
but it's supposed to clear up and be a beautiful weekend. So we got another great weekend.
We hope. James and Stacy told me before they moved here from Indiana, there was like a 4 or 5 month span where it would be beautiful Monday through Friday, and then Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday, every single weekend, it poured and rained. Every weekend for like 4 or 5 months straight.
When would you mow?
You'd have to do it during the week. You'd have to take a day off of work and mow.
I don't know.
So anyway. But
I don't know, Joe.
Fortunately, we have had a couple of days of the weekend that has been nice. This past weekend, Saturday was nice. Sunday wasn't so nice.
No, but we got to cook out. I mean, there was a window there that actually was long enough for you to.
For me, you said
for
we,
him.
and I'm glad that
I've
me
flattened
and the mouse.
The hamburgers.
Yeah, Kim flattened hamburgers, and I was out in the rain cooking them. But they were good. Were they not good?
You were perfect. Absolutely perfect, Joe.
I mean, rain.
You did good.
Rain doesn't stop me. I'm like the postman. I will make them burgers. All right. So our show will return with Tracy? In just a moment after these commercial messages, so please stay.
Town Americana, where trucks are big and bold, and a handshake is firm, and your word is gold. Don Ledford Chevy Buick GMC in Athens is a $2,000 drive. Maybe you're coming from here or here, doesn't matter. Buying a truck from Don Ledford in Athens will save you at least $2,000. Don Ledford Chevy Buick GMC in Athens, a $2,000 drive worth making.
I'll take that drive every time.
At Crawford Pharmacy, we offer custom compounding. Our pharmacists are known for their attention to detail and unique expertise. So visit us at 2260 Chambliss Avenue, Cleveland, Tennessee. For personal assistance, walk right in or come up to our convenient drive-thru. Crawford Pharmacy, serving our community one person at a time.
Kyle Motors, 802 20th Street Southeast in Cleveland, is the place to find quality pre-owned cars and trucks. Kyle offers on-the-spot financing on all vehicles on the lot. Each pre-owned vehicle goes through a complete inspection to make sure each car and truck meets the Kyle Motors standard. Warranty and extended warranties available on all vehicles. Kyle Motors will sell you a car or truck that you will be proud to drive for many years to come. See Tony, Bill, Dale, James, or David and let them put you in your next quality pre-owned vehicle. Kyle Motors, 802 20th Street Southeast. Phone 790-7100.
Are you having trouble filing for disability?
Seems no one is concerned about your pain, the waiting, the denials.
While some representatives will meet with you in court, We will meet with you now to discuss your plan. We'll review with you the same file that the judges will see. Call us now. Social Security Law Center at Logan Thompson.
You're entitled to better.
This segment of Tennessee Valley This Morning is brought to you by Crown Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, located at 511 South Lee Highway in Cleveland and 2120 Chapman Road, Chattanooga. For your next new or previously owned vehicle, make it Crown Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, the better way to buy. Welcome back.
I didn't talk.
You didn't.
I didn't.
You did, which is a surprise.
I know. Usually, as soon as
we got to call Guinness.
We're chatting and carrying on, and as soon as the mics are hot, I'm like, blah, 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 blah.
Welcome back, Tennessee Valley This Morning. WTMB, Joe and Kim Palo. Again, it's Wednesday, and we do want to say for our friends that follow us at 7:30, this is the #1 morning show that's an hour long, and the one at 7:30 is the #1 morning show that's 30 minutes long. And then as we develop, we'll change it up a little bit. But considering we're the only ones on right here locally. All right. So we are now joined by our good friend Tracy Shellhouse of the New Hope Pregnancy Center, located here in Cleveland. Tracy, thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me back.
He's wound up this morning, isn't he?
I am. I got my
it's the
Mio.
nice weather.
I got my 2 bottles of Mio.
It's the caffeine in that Mio. I mean, that's his crack pipe. I mean, he has that. I mean, he gets
I don't drink coffee, so I drink water, and so I flavor it with Mio, and then
the Mio Energy.
Then I just go.
And it's, I mean, right. And I mean, if he doesn't have it, it's like, we got to get Mio, Kim. We got to get Mio. I said, all right, Joe, I'm pulling into the store.
You know, they have the Crystal Lights that have the energy in it, and I make smoothies for my kids, and we've got one that's about to be 6, and I messed up and put the wild strawberry with energy one time into it, and you got to think it's got bananas and strawberry, and soy milk and things like that. She's like the Energizer Bunny. I mean, there was like no slowing it down, and even after a little while, my other kids went, what is wrong with Emma Grace today? So caffeine can do a lot for you, can't it?
I know, it can.
Well, now we did see a study last night. There was a study about people that drink a lot of coffee, a lot of caffeine, using the coffee idea, but it does something with your brain when you come down from.
We
the
didn't see it. We just saw the promo. Did you watch it?
I did watch it, and it showed a lady that drank a lot of coffee, and then after the fact, and the difference in her brain activity with caffeine and without the caffeine. But it does kind of mess you up a little bit when you get. That's why people have to get their fix. I gotta get my caffeine fix, but I don't think it's as much of a problem with me at this point.
Are you kidding?
It hasn't been that long. I haven't been drinking like coffee like your mother for 87 years. I just started drinking Mio with energy just not too long ago. So I've got a little bit before I got to say, you know what? I got to cut out that caffeine.
I think it's about balance, and I don't know if you've heard the studies that actually say that caffeine has a good benefit of increasing the heart rate, which for people who don't exercise, maybe drinking a cup of coffee is the only exercise you're going to get. And so I think a lot of things are in moderation, and it's not necessarily bad for you as long as you're not.
Everything's bad for you. I just don't even. I don't even pay attention to anything. I've known too many people that have lived a good life and all of that, and that have not made it.
Right. You know, my husband
died early.
My husband's 6'2" and slender, and he has always eaten pretty much whatever he wants, and has been really healthy. Which now he is a Marine Corps vet and was in great shape when he was younger. But his attitude is, I'm going to die anyway.
Right.
And so I can eat crummy food and be miserable.
Right.
Or I can eat the good stuff. And it's so funny because for years he loves butter. He loves butter. And now over the past decade, we've heard so much about hydrogenated oils and margarine and how bad it is. And I can remember when he looked at me and he said, see, I told you, you've been killing me with that stuff. And so we're actually a butter household again. But, it's funny.
Well, it is. I have someone sent us, I don't know, it was Dan Howell, I think, that sent out something on Facebook, but it was a piece of margarine. And that the ants won't even eat it. That it stayed and it was held its form, but ants just paraded right around it. They didn't want to have anything to do with it.
Well, it's so weird. Butter was the staple of back grandparents, our grandparents, you know, and
from the beginning of time.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden they came out and said butter's bad for you, so now margarine is better, and then everybody starts doing a margarine thing, and then they come back and say, no, wait a minute, forget that. Margarine's not good, butter, go back to butter. Same thing with the sugar thing. What's going on with all that? Make up your mind.
I think
FDA.
the safest route is whatever is the most natural.
Natural, me too. I think
that's the safest route.
You're right.
You know,
It
and
really
that's
is.
what, because America we had a really good time in the 50s and 60s of making everything synthetic. You know, if it was natural, well, let's make it in a different form, you know, and call it just as good. But no, it's the natural stuff that gets back to basics. I think we're all safe that way.
Yes.
So,
Wholesome.
because the good Lord
That's
put
right.
it on here.
Wholesomeness.
That's right.
Exactly
He did.
right.
So, Tracy, now that we've gotten that all cleared up.
There's more natural than nothing natural than childbirth. So let's talk about that.
Nutrition's a big part of it.
There you
yes.
go.
There
Yes,
we
it is.
go.
And
Brought
butter.
all the way back around.
That's right, all the way back. Eat more butter. There we go. With Paula Dean. So, tell us what's going on with New Hope.
Well, we thankfully are through one of our bigger fundraising seasons, and that is a blessing for me and the rest of my staff and our volunteers. We really needed a break by the time we got to the end of it. People were starting to get eye twitches and twitches on the side. I'm not kidding. I think 3 or 4 people actually had twitches by the time we got to the end of it, but it was amazing. We set out with a goal of $55,000. And to date, if everything comes in that's been pledged, we're at $83,000.
Oh, congratulations.
It's amazing.
Congratulations.
Wow. Well, thank you. We're
Thank you,
excited.
Cleveland. Thank
yes,
you.
because that is, it is our churches and our individuals that are the ones that really support us. And we also were able to keep our expenses down. And we had a speaker that cut us a great deal because he was going to be nearby. And so our net goal was $40,000, and if everything comes in, we're at about $73,000, which is over 80% more than what we were hoping to raise. And so we are just praising God for that. It is absolutely amazing, and this year will definitely end in the black. And you know, last year we had a house donated,
Right.
and that's sort of what put us over the goal line. This year, without the house being donated, God has met our needs through the people here in this community. It has been awesome. It's been a great ride.
Well, excellent.
And Tracy,
excellent.
if you will, folks that are watching, first of all, that don't know about New Hope or what you guys do,
Yes.
tell us that, and then tell us how this money raised, how it helps New Hope, how it helps you guys to continue to do what you do.
Okay. Well, we are a pregnancy help center. And as a pregnancy help center, we offer help, hope, and accurate information to those in our community who are facing an unplanned pregnancy and the rest of the family. So we do things like pregnancy testing, options counseling. We do talk with them about parenting, and whether that's single or married, we talk with them about parenting by placing. A lot of people they think that you're not a parent if you place a child for adoption, but that's actually a very selfless parent that does that.
Right.
And it never takes away the fact that you are a parent that made a wonderful, loving decision for your child. We do abortion education. We do believe it's really important that people are informed, that they understand what they're choosing. We don't guilt people, though. That's one of the things I love about what we do at New Hope is we don't believe in guilting people into making a decision not to terminate a pregnancy, and instead we believe in empowering them and equipping them by giving them the information and the tools and resources they need to be able to choose life.
Right, we've talked about that so many times.
Yes.
How you don't make good decisions in crisis
Oh, my goodness.
situations.
Anytime you're rushed.
Right. Anytime you're rushed or in a crisis and you're doing the oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, when you're in panic mode of any kind, you can pretty much guarantee that your decision is not going to be a sound one at that point.
Right.
And if you do make a sound one, it's going to be accidental. It's not going to be well thought through. So I think that's what's wonderful that you guys
Yes.
do offer. If people that are in that situation will just take a minute to breathe and then go talk to somebody that can give
Absolutely.
you, that's not going to guilt you, not going
That's
to
right.
try to twist your arm or to do anything, but just help you to make an informed and an educated
Yes.
because that is such a huge decision that has so many consequences down the road.
Absolutely.
Tracy, there's a question I want to ask that I've been meaning to ask you this when we've had you on, but we talk about the women, the young girls, the older ladies, maybe that have an unplanned pregnancy that need to be counseled,
Yes.
and whatever decision they're going to make. But okay, after the child is born and they get to the age where they understand, they're placed maybe in a foster home or they're adopted by somebody else. And then I know there's always that thing of the birth mother, like doesn't get in touch with the child until the child's ready, and then the child may want to get in touch with the birth mother, and some of them have these feelings of that they were discarded.
He's been watching Lifetime.
No,
Yes.
or they were discarded, or tossed aside and not wanted when it could have been maybe an economic reason, maybe it was a health reason, maybe the mother was severely addicted to drugs and didn't want her child to have to be brought up, and she had a problem. She knew she couldn't fight right then.
Yes.
So, do you all also have counseling for maybe the children after the fact if they have this unbelievable problem with it? They don't like the fact that they were given up, tossed aside, so to speak. Is there something after counseling with those children, or how do you all go about that? If somebody comes back and says, "Hey, my child, we had it adopted, and then they're 10, and they found out, and they're very upset. They don't want to have nothing to do with me. The parents have no problem. The adoptive parents have me a part of the life."
I'm sure there's some type of a program.
But is there a program that you all offer, or can you direct them?
Well, we actually partner with adoption agencies in our area.
Okay.
We do not provide adoption services because it would be very easy for it to be seen as a conflict of interest.
Sure.
Absolutely.
But what we do, though, is we have been very selective in choosing agencies in the area where we give referrals. And so we usually offer anywhere between 3 to 5 referrals. And part of that selectiveness is choosing an organization that has an ongoing follow-up program.
Okay.
And they have an ongoing follow-up program not only for the birth mothers, because placing a child is a wonderful decision, but it also has a lot of grief involved in it. It's very difficult to go and give birth, love your child, and that's the reason you're choosing to place, but when you leave the hospital, you leave by yourself. That's difficult. And so they have ongoing care for those mothers, the birth mothers. They have ongoing care for the adoptive parents, but they can also offer ongoing care for those children. But something that has been a standard now for about the past 2 decades in our industry that has really changed a lot of how people process it and how children process it. We really encourage that adoptive parents from the very beginning are honest about the fact. And I'm not saying that they're being dishonest if they don't say it. But from the very beginning, they're talking with their child. They're talking about your birth mommy, and we are.
A lot of them are open.
Yes,
too. That
absolutely.
They can even be involved in the child's life.
On our, you can actually go to our Facebook page, and we have a video that we put up in April, and it was from our banquet, and it is an open adoption video that was a New Hope client and family, and they actually all live here in Cleveland, which is sometimes unusual. Usually they try to separate them out a little farther. But what is amazing is in the video, you get to see the parents of this child playing with the child, and you also get to see the birth mother in the same room. And they have a very synergistic relationship. And what happens is the agencies that we refer to go ahead and talk with that birth mother up front and ask her, what do you want? How do you envision? Do you want, maybe because this is a hard thing or something that you're embarrassed about, or you don't want other family members to know about, do you maybe want a closed adoption where the family only has access to medical records? Or do you want to have some kind of correspondence, maybe get pictures? Or even yet, would you like to be able to be at birthday parties and be able to be there on Christmas and give that child presents and that child know that you're their birth mommy?
That'd be so hard.
Well, it's amazing though. You need to, I really encourage people to go to, on Facebook, just look up New Hope Pregnancy Care Center. We posted it in April. Go to our April postings. You'll see the video. It's about 4.5 minutes, and it works. It is so amazing. But part of the reason it works is all along the way, though, there has been counseling and preparation, teaching people, how are we going to do this? How are we going to implement this plan that we have? And it's phenomenal. And so people today have a choice of closed adoption, semi-open, and open adoptions. And with every situation, it looks different because each adoptive mother and father are different. Each birth parent is different, but it's amazing. And what it does is it especially gives our clients the peace of mind to know that they really can make decisions and that they're not being forced into anything, and that they don't have to wonder. And I hear a lot of people who have placed children say this, I often wonder if I met my child on the street, would I recognize them?
Right.
Have I met my child? Has my child maybe waited on me in a restaurant, or maybe did?
Yeah, they're always looking.
Yes,
right.
and a lot of times, and at times, adopted children do the same thing.
Right.
And so it helps to remove some of those barriers in those situations.
I didn't realize about the semi. I thought it was just closed and open. There was, and
Yes.
of course because that's my nature anyway. I'm never middle of the road about anything.
Right.
It's one or the other. But that's a really good option
Yes.
as well. I mean, because sometimes it would be hard to be so close.
Yes.
In a situation, but yet at the same time, So that's amazing. I mean, that's just, and that's really great that you guys, supply that service. I mean, you guys are not an adoption
agency no, we're
at
not.
all, but yes, you do work with them or
Yes,
refer to.
absolutely.
And now tell us a little bit about the fundraiser that you guys have coming up, the riding.
The Ride for Life.
Okay, tell us a little
Yes,
bit about
motorcycles. Anybody that has a motorcycle needs to get involved in this. It's a fun event.
He's going to want to buy one just for it.
Actually, my husband bought a boat.
Oh.
And he's been complaining about the weather. We are talking about the rain weekend after weekend because he had like 4 weekends in a row. He didn't get to go fishing. But thankfully, he's been working on our IT stuff at the office, and so he spent 4 weekends in a row at my office, which for me was better than him going fishing. But nevertheless, we are looking at having an event coming up on July 27th. Hopefully, the weather will be great by the time we get there. And it's the Ride for Life, and it is an event sponsored by the Grace Point Riders from the Church at Grace Point. This is our 8th annual Ride for Life, and we invite people to come. Well, they'll actually meet at Food Lion instead of at the church, and I believe that the registration is at 9, and then stands up at 10. And as I was saying about my husband fishing, there's that part of me that really wished he'd gotten a motorcycle because it'd be really fun.
Right.
The guys that are involved in the Grace Point Riders are phenomenal. They're amazing people. And I think a lot of times when people have an image in their mind of what someone, that people out riding, bikes, what they look like, I think that they would be somewhat amazed by who all shows up for these rides. Because you see people that you can tell are accountants during the week, and they're coming in. And it's funny because some of them I know, and I know them in a professional capacity. So when I'm there to send them off the day of, and they come walking up in leather chaps.
Right, and they're all in their biker gear.
Yes.
Kind of like,
it's awesome. It's awesome. And ladies that I've seen in church, and they're all, pressed and fixed in their high heels and stuff, and they've got all their stuff on and their gear on and everything. It's been pretty amazing. I saw one gentleman show up one year, and his head was shaved, and he had a beard and a mustache. But as he went walking past, the back of his head was a stained glass window where he'd had a tattoo.
Oh, wow.
But he was a believer, and he might not look like what a lot of people, when you're sitting in church, what you imagine. That's one of the things I love about this event, too, is it gives people that maybe aren't interested in coming to the Walk for Life, and maybe the thought of sitting down in a banquet isn't like their cup of tea, but they believe in what we do. They support what we do. This gives different people an opportunity to get involved. And we also hope to engage people who maybe don't really know about New Hope. There are a lot of people that do charity runs and rides that they just do it for the fun of it.
Right.
But it gives us an opportunity to engage them.
Right.
And so we're really excited about it. We normally do this in October. So anybody out there that does it and you're used to an October ride, that's changed. So now we are actually looking at July, and we will not be having one in October. I know it's going to be hot. That's one thing that we discussed, but we end up having 2 major events, usually within a couple of weeks of each other, and we think that all the way around, this is going to be better for us.
Now, if somebody is watching, wants to participate, what do they need to do?
Well, they can actually go to our website, and our website has information on there.
Okay.
We will be getting posters up in the community also. And you can go to the Church at Grace Point, actually go to their website if you'll just Google the Church at Grace Point, and they'll have information on there. And the Grace Point Riders also have their own Facebook page.
Okay.
And so all of that information is readily available.
Beautiful, beautiful. And again, this is
July 27th.
July 27th.
Yes.
Okay. And who knows? It may not be hot. The way the weather is, it may be just an absolute
Well,
beautiful
and you know,
day.
when you're on a bike, I mean,
Yes.
you got the wind
That
blowing
helps.
through. Well, you got a helmet on, but
That's right.
still, you got.
I want to follow the rider from the Geico commercial with the money just coming off and falling.
Yes.
It comes down there. And then you also have the men's program. Real quick, tell us a little bit about that. That's starting up this summer. That it's the Fatherhood
Initiative.
Right, Fatherhood Initiative.
We have been trying for about a year now to get a Fatherhood Initiative up and off the ground. And what it is a program that is specifically for the dads of our babies and our babies that are going to be born. One thing that we have recognized is, the ladies that serve and all of us involved in this ministry, we have a great heart for our clients. But ultimately, you know what? I'm not a man.
Right.
I'm not a father, and I'm not a husband.
Right.
And we can sit down and talk with them about what's going on in the pregnancy. We can give them parenting education and things like that. But one of the things that we often see is we see a great void in many of our clients' lives because they either did not have a father or they didn't have a father that was engaged. And so really what this program is about is getting engaged as a dad, getting engaged as a man, and getting engaged as a partner, learning how to communicate. And ultimately, our clients, whether they get married or not, they're going to be partners.
Right.
Because they're going to have a child to raise together.
Right.
And so we do have those that decide to get married after they come through. But then ultimately, though, you're still going to be involved and always have a role to play in the life of that child. And so what we have done is I actually have been praying about it and asking around. It didn't seem to be getting any traction. People would tell me, oh, this is great, this is awesome. We use a curriculum that is called, it's from the Earn While You Learn program specifically for dads. And but I really couldn't find men in the community that really wanted to step up and get involved. And we've been very blessed. My executive assistant's husband, Josh Cornelius, is a pastor of Gamble Road Baptist Church. And Josh was at the banquet. And after, he was talking with one of his deacons, and I can't remember if it was Josh or his deacon. They said, I think what they do is great, and this is wonderful, and I'm really excited about it. But I'd really like to see something for the men.
Right.
And I'm like, well, guys, do I have a program to talk with you about? And pretty much within a week had a commitment. And last week before I left the office, I ordered the curriculum, and we are pumped about it. And it is going to be absolutely amazing, I think, as we see these young men receive encouragement, mentorship, and also as they are told who they are.
Right.
So often they don't. And that's what we see is we often find our clients sell themselves short.
Right.
And they settle for a lot less than best. And it's because they don't know that they don't have to settle for that. And
that's
so we're excited.
Yes, that's going to be a wonderful program. Well, thank you for being with us
as always.
I mean,
you're welcome.
that is such a wonderful program out there, and I love that they're non-judgmental and that they do really help to make the right decision. And we'll work with women of all ages, young and scared and premenopausal, and scared. So you guys do a great work, and thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Tracy comes the first Wednesday of every month, and we're always glad to have her.
Yes. And we will have you back next month to talk about the ride again.
Yeah,
I might see if I can get one of those motorcycle guys to come
That'd
with
be
me.
great.
I think that would be
great.
fun.
Yes, it will.
Absolutely. Thank you, Tracy. Tracy Shellhouse of New Hope Pregnancy Center. We're going to be back with Doug Mizell, Cleveland Preppers, when we return after this. Stay tuned.
Town Americana, where trucks are big and bold, and a handshake is firm, and your word is gold. Don Ledford Chevy Buick GMC in Athens is a $2,000 drive. Maybe you're coming from here or here, doesn't matter. Buying a truck from Don Ledford in Athens will save you at least $2,000. Don Ledford Chevy Buick GMC in Athens, a $2,000 drive worth making.
I'll take that drive every time.
At Crawford Pharmacy, we offer custom compounding. Our pharmacists are known for their attention to detail and unique expertise. So visit us at 2260 Chambliss Avenue, Cleveland, Tennessee. For personal assistance, walk right in or come up to our convenient drive-thru. Crawford Pharmacy, serving our community one person at a time.
Kyle Motors, 802 20th Street Southeast in Cleveland, is the place to find quality pre-owned cars and trucks. Kyle offers on-the-spot financing on all vehicles on the lot. Each pre-owned vehicle goes through a complete inspection to make sure each car and truck meets the Kyle Motors standard. Warranty and extended warranties available on all vehicles. Kyle Motors will sell you a car or truck that you will be proud to drive for many years to come. See Tony, Bill, Dale, James, or David and let them put you in your next quality pre-owned vehicle. Kyle Motors, 802 20th Street Southeast. Phone 790-7100.
Are you having trouble filing for disability?
Seems no one is concerned about your pain, the waiting, the denials.
While some representatives will meet with you in court, we will meet with you now to discuss your plan. We'll review with you the same file that the judges will see. Call us now, Social Security Law Center at Logan Thompson.
You're entitled to better.
This segment of Tennessee Valley This Morning is brought to you by Crown Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, located at 511 South Lee Highway in Cleveland and 2120 Chapman Road, Chattanooga. For your next new or previously owned vehicle, make it Crown Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, the better way to buy. Welcome back to Tennessee Valley This Morning on WTMB. Again, Joe and Kim Palo with you. It is Wednesday, and we're now joined by Doug Mizell, Cleveland
the man
Preppers.
to be with in case anything happens.
Can I have my prop?
Your pencil?
Yes,
Is this your pencil?
this is my prop. That's my prop. It's like my cigar. You know, like the old comedians always had their
George
cigar?
Burns.
Yes, I use a pencil or a pen.
You got the pencil or pen, huh?
You need one? Do you need? You can use it. You can give it back. Oh, you
I
got one.
have
Then
mine.
why'd you take mine?
Well, I didn't know that it was
Stuck in there?
I had kind of rolled up through there.
But
this
see, I
is
can use
the
it to
man,
point.
right?
This is the
man that you want to be with when something bad happens. You're like, because he's got the bag that's got all the stuff in it.
The bug out bag.
That's
That's
exactly right. Exactly right. You guys got good memories.
Well, you know what, Doug? We were talking before we went on, and of course, as we talked about the what's gone on over there in Oklahoma this last week or so, and the tornadoes that have hit, and it's like it just seems like every year now we have devastation and F5 tornadoes happening all over the country every tornado season, whereas before it didn't seem like we had them that often. But somebody watching right now that is like, wow, I mean, what if that happens here? What should I do? What would I need to do? What would they need to do?
Well, it is indeed has happened here.
It sure
Again,
has.
I should say.
We've
And
been lucky this year.
we've been lucky
We have
this
been
year,
very lucky,
but
past
we're still
two.
not out of the woods.
Are we not?
I don't think so. I think that truly that we need to extend our tornado season until after July.
Oh, really?
I'm pretty sure that
And I trust you.
there's going to be some more bad weather, inclement weather in the future. And I just with Cleveland Survivor Preppers, what we ask everybody to do is just be able to take care of yourself. Mm-hmm. If you've survived the initial, tornado or whatever the disaster is, have an opportunity to take care of yourself for that interim period when help doesn't arrive and can't get there. And triage, let the emergency help get to the people who need it worst, and if you need it less, just get out of their way, but be able to have water, be able to feed yourself, be able to have plenty of water on hand, and be able to find shelter. And these are the things that we teach in Cleveland Survival Preppers, is what to put in that bug out bag, what to have handy in the event of any kind of emergency. And I always say, if you're going to prep for anything at all, no matter how minute, let being without electricity be the number one thing that you prep for. Right. Have a way to have a light source, have a fire source, have water, and to have all the things that doing without electricity is going to deprive you from, and you're going to be in pretty good shape.
And I think a big misnomer, if you think about, and it just as we just saw in the devastation in Oklahoma, I think a lot of people think, well, I don't have a storm shelter. I don't have a basement. I need to get out of here. I'm going to get in my car and I'm going to try to get out as fast as I can and stay in my car because that'll be safe. But that's probably
That's one of the worst places to be.
Exactly. And after what we just saw happen in Oklahoma, I guess you can pretty much...
Not only tornadic winds, but even straight line winds have been problematic with people in vehicles. If you get in that situation, the best thing to do is to find low ground. Find you a ditch.
Get out of the car.
Get out of the car, find you a ditch, and lay flat in it and cover your head. That is the very best life-saving exercise that you can do if you get caught in a high wind situation. Is find lower ground. Find a ditch. Find something that is going to give you cover from the wind. Get as low as you can. And you will survive.
Now, what about overpasses? I've heard that I've heard good and bad, but you see a lot of times that they're kind of can be good, that they are safe.
They are
safer than being out in the elements.
They are, and if you can get to an overpass, do so. But still, get out of the car.
Get out of the car.
And get to that column under there, get your arms around it, and stay low. I have actually seen videos of tornadoes, F5 tornadoes coming across an overpass and taking out the pavement that was under the overpass.
Oh my goodness.
So those winds are still going to funnel through. You still need to get away from those winds, protect yourself from those winds, get out of the car, get behind that pylon, grab that pylon if you can, and hold on for dear life.
Yeah, and I really... And we were talking again before we went on about the videos that we have seen about the different folks that were in the tornadoes there in Oklahoma, and they were shooting video. And you cannot really imagine, that kind of helped, but what it would be like to be in a tornado and how powerful it is until you see video like that and understand that even in some cases like that, grabbing onto that pylon, that may not be enough.
All you can do is all you can do.
Exactly.
Right. And then it's a throw of the dice. It's a matter of whether it's your time to go or not.
Right.
But we teach these things to do. Worst case scenarios, do this, and you have a better chance of survival.
Right.
Now, it may not work out, but hey, you gave it your best shot. And sometimes just that preparedness, though, it gives you something to do. It gives your mind a place to go.
Because definitely.
When you start that panic
because you're going to be frozen with fear unless you take action.
Right, and so then you've got that. Okay, step one. Doug said. I can hear me and Joe. I'd be going, Joe. Doug said. And I'd start telling him all the things that we needed to do because that gives your mind a plan. It has it somewhere to go besides in that just complete panic.
Exactly, and I want to bring up too during this show. We have talked about procedures that we teach with Cleveland Survival Preppers. First of all, I want every family to have an evacuation plan. If your house has been devastated, have a meet-up place somewhere else, a stage 2, for the family to get to. Do a head count. Find out who's missing, find out who's hurt, triage your family first, then triage your neighbor or your best friends or whatever who are in the same area. Do that and be able to get that information to the authorities. And not only have one backup place, because if it was a tornado that was 2 miles wide, your second stage meeting place might be gone as well. So have 2 alternate places to meet if your house has been hit. And also have a way to call people out of the area, friends out of state, friends out of the city, friends in areas that weren't hurt, and be able to call them and tell them that you are all right and that your family is all right, or tell them who's been hurt. This is very, very important, and a lot of people, it's a majority of the people don't have any kind of emergency plan because they just don't think that far ahead.
Exactly.
So this is one of the first things we teach at Cleveland Survival Preppers is have a plan. Be in the aftermath of a disaster, do a head count. Find out if everybody's here, find out who's hurt, who's not hurt, and that be priority 1. Take care of the family, then take care of the friends and neighbors secondarily. But we want them to be able to, if you're not hurt, to be able to step out of the picture, let the emergency personnel go to who needs the help most, and be able to hydrate yourself and be able to feed yourself and be able to maintain some sort of shelter. Now, I've been here before. One of the most important things, Joe, to maintain a survival situation
is water.
Water number 1.
Water number 1. Shelter.
Yes.
And then food.
Fire.
Fire. Fire, then food.
Fire, then food.
Fire than food.
Because you can do without food for, what'd you say, couple, 3 weeks?
Yeah, you can go without food for a long time.
You can do without,
3 days
you can
without water?
do without water for 3 days.
Okay.
You can do without food for 3 weeks.
Okay.
You can freeze to death in 30 minutes.
Okay.
Okay. So fire and shelter are the two things that cover that.
That
Okay.
fire.
So-
What's in your bag? Tell us what's in your.
Well-
I always want to be in Doug's bag because anytime that I put together an emergency, box or something of the sorts, I rate it. When the battery goes dead in the remote, or I can't find a lighter for something to light a candle. What do I do? And so by the time an emergency came out, my bag looks pretty bad.
Well, that is what
I need somebody to hide it from.
That is what I always tell people is the definition for a flashlight for many years for me was it was a tube to contain dead batteries.
Right.
So what you do is you don't put the batteries in the flashlight.
Right.
You store the flashlight and store the battery separate. And I maintain to do that for 2 purposes. First of all, you want to make sure that you've got good hot batteries. And secondarily, you want to make sure that the batteries don't corrode inside the apparatus and ruin the apparatus.
Right.
We've all had that happen.
Right. Yes.
So the best thing to do is get all your battery-driven emergency gear and take the battery that's supposed to work in that apparatus and leave it in the package and tape it to the item. So, just a little duct tape, a little scotch tape, whatever. Tape the battery to the outside of the flashlight or the radio or whatever. Then when you need it and go to use it, install the battery, fresh battery, and you've got something that works.
Right.
Okay?
Very good idea.
Great idea. Great idea, because we've all had the corroding battery thing.
Oh, you know it.
Well, I mean, that or the battery like you have right there in your radio, in that particular case, and I guess with the flashlights now too, probably behoove you to get a flashlight or a radio. Behoove that would
We're
crank.
going to cover that.
There you
He's
go.
cranking it. Look, I see the handle.
In Doug/Santa's bag right here.
Right.
We have a bag of goodies, and in that bag of goodies is one of the best radios I found on the market. It's called a Voyager. It is by Kato. This radio sells for around $59. I have seen them as low as $39 on eBay. And the reason I recommend a radio such as this is because it's got this dainty little crank right here that powers itself, but it also has solar. And it powers itself, and it also has batteries, and it powers itself, and it also has a plug-in for regular, house current. So this is a very good radio in the fact that it's got a flashlight, okay, that works on hand crank. It works on AM, FM, shortwave band, and weather.
Wow. Where would you find that radio?
Wow.
This radio can be found, a version of this radio can be found right here at Walmart.
Walmart.
Yeah.
No kidding.
It'll be in the Walmart radio section, and they have one that's it's in a red and white box, and it says Red Cross on the outside, Red Cross Emergency Radio.
So in case of an emergency, that radio will alert you if you have it on?
Yeah, sure will. Yeah, you can set it up for radio alert, weather alert.
Right, you start off with it plugged into the wall, folks.
Mm-hmm.
We start off with that, and then we go to the batteries, and when they die,
this has another attribute that I haven't mentioned yet. It's got the flashlight, it's got the solar replenishing, it's got the crank. It also can recharge with this crank right here, your telephone. And your telephone is going to go out. Your cell phone telephone is going to go out within a day's time if you've made any calls at all. And one of the things that has been prominent in a lot of the recent disasters are people have lost their means of communication because their cell phones went down. And there have actually been stations set up by emergency workers with these little crank apparatus to charge their telephones so they can call their family and tell them that they're all right. But this has a recharging station on this radio as well. So it is a very, very good radio.
Now let me...
That's a radio.
Now, wait.
That's a radio.
But if you hook it to your phone to charge it, your phone's dead. How many times you got to crank that baby to get some juice?
About 3 minutes.
Really?
About 3
Just
minutes.
crank it for about 3 minutes. Wow.
Exactly.
So
now, how do you? But it has all these little attachment things. I guess that's because I'm thinking how.
USB.
Yeah, it's a USB port.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Isn't that amazing?
That is amazing.
So this radio right here,
this
radio right here, like I say, is made by Cato. And it's Voyager. You can find this on the internet. All you have to do is just go Voyager Emergency Radio and Google it. It is for sale on Amazon. I think you can get it within 2 days out of the Amazon supply.
Okay. And I see on the box there, it's NOAA radio, NOAA weather approved.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this is a well-made radio. I bought this locally here at the Outpost. The Army Navy surplus store.
Dax over there.
Yeah,
good guy.
There,
yeah. But now Deck has now passed away.
Oh, I did not
and
know that.
And that store has been closed. But on occasion,
I did not know
the
that.
people that bought that building on occasion open it up, and they're selling all their in-house merchandise at pretty good prices, pretty good reduced prices.
Kidding. I didn't know that Dak passed.
Next radio that we want to talk about is, of course, this one right here.
Okay.
Right.
This is the radio. This is the
That's
weather
what my
radio.
mom has, yes.
That you see everywhere. Now it has 2 backup systems. It is run off regular AC current, and then it runs off battery. It has battery backup, and it's very important that if you've got a weather radio that you have one that runs off of some sort of battery backup, because odds are if the weather is as rough as it's going to be with a tornado headed your way, you may be without electricity, but even before the tornado hits. Right. So have a weather radio on hand. These are very, very important, and they all of them have a battery backup. All of them are set up to be able to give you the alert with the energy that's in a battery stored inside of it in the event power goes off.
Right.
So this
now, is that just for weather?
Yeah, this is
band?
just
That's what.
Yeah, this
that's
is,
just for.
And that
Mom
alerts
has
you
one.
when it
this
goes
is
off.
strictly a weather band.
Right.
And if you don't know how to program it, you can take it to the fire department. Just any of the fire departments around here, the old boys will be able to help you set that up.
I think my mom has one, and she lives in Florida, and it's for hurricane purposes, with that.
Exactly.
And they had, like, when she bought it, there was some type of, I don't know, they had like a set that they had guys there that it was like a special promotion thing that they had that would program it for her.
And
and for people that
several
didn't know
times
what
a year,
to do.
right? Several times a year, Channel 3 will do that.
Yeah.
Oh, will they? Okay.
They'll set up seminars in the various communities, and you bring your radio to them. They'll set that up for you. So
Right, that's what
it's
she
readily
had.
available
Right.
about any time of the year.
Right.
Another thing that I want everybody to be aware of is put you together some sort of small, adequate first aid kits. I'm going to be showing you several different kinds today, but these are available for about $15 at Walgreens. You can find these. But a survival kit can be as small as that, or as small as this, or even the large medical type, medical type
Right.
that you see. So these I'm going to be showing you some various items that you might want to include in your go bag, but make sure that you have some sort of medical kit.
And you got to, I guess, remember too that you don't want something that's big and cumbersome that because everything you're going to have is going to have to be more concise in a bag.
Exactly. The smaller you can make it, the better. The more mobile you can make it, the better. But I also want you to include if you have medical problems, such as diabetes, asthma, things of that nature. Have at least 1 month of that medication on hand in your pack. It's kind of easy to get an extra prescription, of a vial of pills, even nitroglycerin tablets. I have those in my bag as well. But I'm a diabetic, and I have an extra a vial of metformin and all my diabetic medications, and I have that readily available in the event my house is wiped out and I still have an emergency kit, I've still got my medications available.
Right.
So that's very important.
That's what makes me nervous. We have our youngest son is a type 1 diabetic. He has been since he was 9. And when I was in charge of it, I had a lot more control. Now that he's supposedly grown and all of that, I'm a nervous wreck.
The active word is supposedly.
I know, supposedly, and I'm just a nervous wreck. And I just can't go out there and fill a prescription for insulin. I can't do that, so I have to just trust him.
Well, in the case of that, now I guess this is another issue. In the case of some medications, like in the case of insulin, that has to be kept cold. You can't have it.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily cold, but it needs for it to be
at
preserved.
least room temperature.
Yeah. So,
70,
so if
75.
you're outside in 90-degree heat with that, you need to have some kind of. And there are kits that have little ice things where you kind of lay this stuff in there. But what would somebody do in the case of, like, let's say some medication that they have to keep room temperature or cooler that they can't have out in the heat? Should they have a cooler with not ice, but maybe some of those?
I would advise having some of those cold packs.
Cold packs
up in the refrigerator, and if it survived, then you've got something to keep your medications cool.
And there are those that break now that will last enough time that you could put it in your pocket or in something. You can just throw your insulin with that.
Now, every radio that I've showed you has a distinct character that you need to, with the exception of that one, that you need to make sure that a survival radio that you have has, and that is an analog dial. Okay, a dial. When I call it analog dial, what I'm talking about is when you tune it, the dial has a little indicator on it and goes back and forth.
And it moves. It's not digital.
Not a digital number.
Not a digital.
It's not number. It's got to move on that dial number.
I don't want you to have a digital because if in the event you were in the area of an electrical charge, an EMP or a sunspot storm or something like that, it's going to wipe that digital radio out.
Right.
It's going to blow it out. So you've got more of a chance of having a communication apparatus survive if it's analog, the old analog type radios. Right. You can find these at the junk stores, the Goodwill stores and stuff like that. I found them as cheap as $1.99. Yeah. They're still out there. You can still buy them, and that's the one that I advise you to use. Right.
We've just got a couple of minutes left, Doug. So tell us about your meetings. You guys can learn all of this information and see all of this because these guys meet once a month, right?
We sure do. We meet at the Rebel Drive-In on South Lee Highway, just past Bradley High School. On the right, the Rebel Drive-In has been there for decades.
Right.
Chip Bryant is, of course, co-founder of Cleveland Survivor Preppers. We meet at his restaurant the second Tuesday of every month. And we start gathering about 6 o'clock, and the meetings usually go to about 8 o'clock. There is absolutely no cost involved in this. There's no membership. There's no anything. You come, you listen to the seminars that we have every second Tuesday, and you just pick it up, learn it, and I promise you, you will not attend one of those meetings that you don't come out learning something.
And this will be next Tuesday, guys. So next Tuesday night at the Rebel. I mean, not only is it interesting, I always find, Doug, that you're so interesting, but it's so necessary. And every time that he comes, I always think, Joe, we've got to be more prepared. We need to sit down with our kids and have a place
We're going
to
to move next to Doug. I know. He's got 3 radios in that bag.
Well, right, he's got all the stuff. That's what I always think. But it is... You don't ever think about it until it's too late. And I'm one of those people that I'm one of those woulda, shoulda, coulda. And so it's really great that you guys are taking this so seriously and are prepared and are helping others become prepared. And you have special speakers every month too that come in on different subjects.
A lot of them are our membership.
Oh, okay.
We have such a great membership with such a broad array of special skills and skill sets that we teach ourselves, as well as have outside speakers come in and talk with us as well.
So again, this is this coming Tuesday, which will be at the Rebel Drive-In beginning at 7 o'clock. You say come a little early for meet and greet?
Yeah, come early. There's always coffee, always Cokes. It's always free. There is no money involved in this whatsoever. When we put this group together, we purposely set it up to where anybody could come, and the cost should not be prohibitive.
We're out.
We'll see you guys. Thank you, Doug.
Thank you, Doug.
Thank you, Tracy.